Hey there, how's it going, everybody? This is John Rodriguez again with Loan Mortgage, making another video here for you that I want you guys to know about different types of properties, their structures, and what comes with them. What are the benefits? What are the cons? Get you to understand more what's a better option for you if you're going to buy a home, right? A couple weeks ago, I talked about budgeting and preparing to buy a home. This is helping you select what you want to get. There's different types of properties, right? I've got down here five I want to talk about, which are the basics in residential, and I'm going to list them here for you. The first is going to be a single family residence. Second is going to be a townhome. Third is going to be a multifamily unit. Fourth is going to be a manufactured home. And lastly, I'm going to go over condos because I feel like the condos are the more complex ones. So let's talk about the structures of these properties. Okay. A single family residence, it's going to be a standalone structure, stick built home. It's going to come with its own land. It's going to be usually a single standing property. Okay. When you compare that with the townhome, you're going to have like a shared wall with your neighbors. So they can usually consist of 4 units in one building, sometimes just 2 units in one building. They will have their own private entrance, but they're going to have a shared wall. Okay. Multifamily unit, that's usually like your apartment building. Sometimes people will buy a 4 unit property. They come anywhere from 2 to 4 units. They'll buy that property, live in one, rent out the other ones. Those are going to have one giant structure with shared walls, similar to a townhome, but you can buy it anywhere from 2 or 4 units. Okay. Manufactured home. Those are a little different. All the ones I mentioned before are stick built. Manufactured home, those are not stick built. Those are put together in a factory or sometimes on site, very rare though. And then they're shipped over to the site and they're placed on the ground. Okay. They'll usually be made of manufactured materials. It could be made of some steel, aluminum, sorry, not if steel, very light steel, but aluminum or some composite materials that are put together. Condos are usually also stick built property. Okay. Those are also going to be usually anywhere from 2 to 4 units. Usually, I have seen them with 1 unit. I'll explain why. But sometimes they can be up to 8 units in one, but they're usually a very giant complex where there's one, you own the unit inside and they're attached to anywhere from 2 to 8 other units. Okay. So those are how those structures work. Now, I want to talk about the ownership because a lot of people ask about, okay, well, if I buy a condo, like, is it like buying an apartment or something, right? So let's go back to single family residence and we'll make our way through the list again. So single family residence, you own everything, the land and the property, the exterior of the property, the interior of the property. You don't own any like HOA stuff, but we'll get into that a little later. Pretty much the parcel that you sit on, you own everything on that. Townhome is going to be a little bit different. You're only going to own your land most of the time, your land and your unit as well. You won't own the shared interior walls because other people have those walls attached to your wall as well. The multi-unit, if you buy the entire building, you own that entire building. You own the land with it. It's kind of like owning a single family, but you own four of them in one, right? But they're more like townhomes. Manufactured home, you'll usually own your land and your manufactured home if it's been converted to real property or if you buy the land separately. Okay. In some cases, I have seen where you have to lease the land on a manufactured home. And, I do loans for those as well, where you'll be part of a community, like maybe a very nice golf course community. You'll have like a 20-year lease on the land, but you'll never own it. You'll just lease it. With the condominium, you'll own the interior of the unit only, and you will not own the land in a condominium. That's how that works right there. Okay. The association usually owns that land, and the association also takes care of the exterior. I think it's because they so many more complexities with the condominium. That's probably why. Okay. Let's talk about the privacy. Okay, in a single family residence, privacy can vary, but generally you're going to have the most privacy in a single family residence. Why? Because you own the land, you own everything on that land. You can usually do whatever you want with it. If it is into homeowners association, you're going to be subject to the rules and regulations of the homeowners association. But generally you have more privacy in a single family. With the townhome, because you own the land, but you're attached to other units, that can vary, right? And the associations are much stronger usually in a townhome as well versus a single family, but you can generally still get some decent privacy with a townhome as well, just knowing that you are stuck right next door to a neighbor. There's no 10 foot of space between you and the neighbor at least. With the multi-unit, if you want to live in that, that's kind of like living in an apartment, a small apartment, because it's just one building. Usually there might be other buildings there because it might be part of a community where you can own that entire building. But the privacy is what it is with that. It's almost similar to a small apartment. Manufactured home, those generally don't have walls like brick walls like single family homes do in townhomes. They'll generally have maybe chain link fencing surrounding them, or maybe no fencing at all, but you still own the land. And generally, if you're buying in a park, manufactured park, they won't let you have any walls or anything like that. They're very strict about that. Some might though, so it does exist. But generally, looking at chain link fencing with the manufactured homes, or no fencing at all. With a condominium, it's kind of like a townhome, but again, privacy, it's almost like being in an apartment. So it's a mix of a multi-unit and I would say a townhome, because you share the walls. So if you hear your neighbors fighting or, playing games inside or throwing a party, probably going to hear that. Same with the townhome, I would say, though, or multi-unit. Yourself too, if you want to, blast loud music, it's going to be difficult. Similar with the townhome, I'd say the townhome was a little less because they're a little bigger generally. Same with the multi-unit. Okay. So that's really your privacy right there in a nutshell with these different types of properties. Let's talk about the cost, right? Like ownership cost, maintenance. Okay. Single family residence, it's always going to be higher because you own everything on that land. So you have to maintain everything from the pipes underneath the ground to the very top of your roof. Every single thing has to be maintained by you. Okay. There are insurance policies that you can get, warranties and things like that to help with that if you're worried about that. So there's always options. Townhome, because you're sharing a lot of this stuff with other people, or the association generally has to cover some of this stuff. With the townhome, you're really only responsible for your yard and the interior of the property. In very rare cases have I seen you be responsible for the exterior, meaning like the roof. Very rare cases. But because it's shared, the association, they're going to be in charge of maintaining sometimes even the garages. They'll maintain the garages, the roofs, the lights, the paint, a lot of this stuff. So your maintenance cost is going to be lower with the townhome. Multi-unit property, that's going to depend on lots of factors if it's an association or not. But generally with the multi-unit property, 2 to 4 units, you're going to be responsible for that entire building if you own it. Okay. You're going to be the landlord. You're going to be responsible for the roof, the paint, sometimes even, the exterior landscaping, unless you're in an association. Okay. Manufactured home, you're going to be responsible for that as well. However, it's much easier to repair a manufactured home than it is a stick-built home for a multitude of reasons. One, the materials are cheaper. Two, the access to pipes and gas lines are a lot easier because you can literally get underneath the home and access all the pipes through the walls and everything like that. So repair costs on maintaining a manufactured home are a lot cheaper. And that's why they're a great option for people on a budget. Okay. Even, and you still get those benefits of like having your land and kind of like a single family home, but you're in a manufactured home. Condos are very similar to a townhome where you don't have to take care of the roof, AC units, water lines, gas lines, unless it's in the interior of your property, then that's different. That you maintain. So your gas lines, your electric, your water inside your property, you usually have to maintain that. Sometimes it's shared though. So sometimes you do have to work with the neighbors and let them know what you're going to do and fix some stuff. But usually the association will not go into your home and fix stuff for you. They're only going to take care of it from the exterior. Same with landscaping, things like that. So condos are a great option also for people that don't want to deal with this type of stuff and don't want to buy extra coverage for that. It's a great option because the association will usually be on top of it. All right. So let's talk about your outdoor space. Okay. Because this is an important one to a lot of people as well. Single family residence, you're going to have your own yard, right? You can put a fence up, do whatever you want. Nobody's going to tell you can't, right? Unless you live in an HOA, then, maybe they'll tell you, oh, we don't like the color of that fence, or, oh, you can't do chain link, it has to be wrought iron fence, right? Some associations, depending on their level of prestige, right? You're going to have to follow their orders. Townhomes, that one is also very, it's like similar to a single family home, but you have a smaller yard usually with those. Okay. They could be kind of private though too, but again, your neighbors can, see you and stuff, right? Multi-units, usually shared. Okay. So the lot is, where everybody goes out and has a barbecue out in the front yard or in the parking lot or whatever for a multi-unit, 2 to 4 unit. Manufactured home can vary. That can be, again, similar to a single family residence where you have your own lot. Some of them can be ginormous. Some of them can be on acres, just like a single family residence. Okay. So you can get a lot of privacy with with a manufactured home as well in your outdoor space. Okay. Condominium. Usually you're just getting a balcony. Very rarely will you get a yard. Very rarely. I've seen it in some cases. There are some states that have like single unit condos where you get like a yard and stuff, but you don't own it. It's not yours. It's kind of weird. So let's talk about the actual cost of these properties. Okay. Single family residence, those are going to be your higher cost. Okay. I believe right now we're like around 450 is the average price right now in Las Vegas. So, usually that's your average 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom home. Townhomes are usually going to be a little lower because all these things that we just listed out, multi units are usually going to be very expensive depending on the location and the square footage, condition of the property. Again, these are usually left for investments, right? Or somebody that wants to live in one and rent the rest out as an investment. But yeah, these can get very pricey. I mean, they're ranging anywhere from 400 to over 1 million here in Las Vegas. They're all over the place. Age and square footage is a factor, of course, right? Manufactured home, those are usually a very low cost. They're coming in under townhomes, and yeah, they're very low cost. Condominiums, those can be a little more than a manufactured home and a little less than a townhome. So that's like your actual purchase cost, right? Let me give you guys a little more information about homeowners associations, because those can make or break your budget when you want to buy a home and you're considering these costs, right? Single family residences, you can buy those without an HOA. If it's a brand new build, they're usually going to have a homeowners association. And those HOA dues can usually run anywhere from $20 upwards to in the hundreds, depending on what they offer. So if you're looking at an association that really doesn't do anything but just tell you clean up your yard, take your trash cans in, don't paint that color, can't have a 50-foot Halloween decoration in your front yard, or sorry, that's usually, your $20, $25 HOA. Now, if you're going for something like a gated community, you want some amenities like a gym, a golf course. Well, not a golf course, but they'll have those in there, but usually you don't pay the cost of that. But they'll come with all these amenities, right? Pools, clubhouse, pool tables, ping pong tables, maybe even weekly gatherings where you can go and have like fun stuff to do. Okay. Those associations are usually going to run in at least the $100 range and depending on the level of luxury and all that stuff. Okay. And that's in the single family. Now, in a townhome, you're automatically going to pay usually in the hundreds and up, because the association is responsible for maintaining all the landscaping in that area, the roof, okay, the exterior of your home, sometimes even the garages, okay, the gates, right? They're usually in gated communities, okay. They have a board that's, assigned to, hand out fines and things like that, right? Handle complaints and all that stuff, right? But usually it's the maintenance cost. So in a townhome, at least here in Las Vegas, you're usually looking around the 175 range at the lower end, and on the high end, the mid 300s, sometimes even more. So multi-units, okay? There are some 2 to 4 unit properties where you own the entire thing, where the association can be close to the thousands range. Okay. But in most cases, if you're buying an outright multi-unit that has its own land and not in an association, you can get those as well and have zero association fees. Okay. So it just depends if you're buying a multi-unit in an association or not. And again, those can range close to 1,000 in the high hundred ranges, sometimes mid hundreds. They can get pretty expensive if you're buying an HOA for your multi-unit. Manufactured home. Here's where manufactured homes get a little tricky, because you can buy your own lot and you can purchase a manufactured home and attach it to the property and not have an HOA. Boom, done, right? Happy. Or you can purchase a manufactured property that's inside a mobile trailer park, right? Where everybody there has a manufactured home and there's a gated community and there's things to do, just like a townhome association, right? All that good stuff, right? And, they'll charge you in that same level, maybe $150 a month for association. But again, you might just be in a different park community where there's really nothing going on. And they're just there just to help you get your mail and just to tell people again, you can't do this, you can't do that, right? And those can be like 35 bucks a month or maybe even lower, maybe even 20 bucks a month. So it varies with the manufactured homes, very similar to a single family residence, I would say. Now, condos, okay? Condos, because the association is usually more responsible versus a townhome because they also own the land, right? Now they have to take care of everything in the exterior for a condo. So those are generally going to be more expensive. And I find those to usually be at minimum right now in Las Vegas about $250 per month and up. Okay. And they're usually a lot stricter because one of the things I forgot to mention about these associations with specifically with the condos or even the townhomes is that the parking there can get very complicated. They usually have outdoor parking for the condos, and townhomes usually have their own garage. Some condos will have a garage unit that's separated from the condominium where you can purchase that when you're buying the home if it's available for purchase. But if not, you're stuck parking outside and you have to park in your spot. And usually there's no space for visitors. There's very little space. So that's part of the associations as well. And not to mention, you can also get like, security and things like that features in some of these associations, which is pretty nice. But that's pretty much it for the video. I hoped this information helped you decide what works best for you. Again, if you have any questions, any comments, put them down below. I would like if you can like, subscribe, share the video so I can try to grow this channel. I would appreciate that so much. And again, thank you very much for watching. You have a nice day. Goodbye.